Hello and welcome to Good News Africa. So this is where I look at the top issues of the day. So basically, what I'm looking right now at the current trending headlines in Kenya. Basically, will ODM be swallowed by Ruto? Will Ruto swallow ODM? Remember, ODM has entered into a pact with UDA. Basically, that is to support President William Ruto in the upcoming 2027 general election. So basically, ODM is the strongest opposition party, but now has entered a deal with President William Ruto. So how will that deal look like? How will that deal look like? Will ODM eventually be swallowed by President Ruto? Remember, President Ruto now is very cunning. He is now the most firebrand politician. After Ruto said that it was only Raila Odinga who would at least make him shiver, but now that Raila Odinga is not in the scene, then ODM basically Ruto is now has no challenger to the throne. So basically, according to reports on the media, where the ODM party and the UDA party fell out was in zoning. So basically, ODM wants zoning in its strongholds, that is Western Coast and Nyanza. But of course, UDA will hear none of it. According to UDA, they are very competitive in coast and very competitive in Western. So that will leave ODM with only Luo Nyanza. So basically, that's the bone of contention. And of course, you have ODM party leader Oburu Oginga saying they have suspended talks with UDA until these issues are ironed out. Of course, you can't be sure that President William Ruto is trying to cut ODM. President William Ruto is trying to cut ODM, and of course, that is to make up the fallout in Mount Kenya. Of course, Mount Kenya, Ruto has lost at least half of the votes of Mount Kenya, of course, to the DCP party led by Rigathi Gachagua. So now ODM is going to be in opposition. But then, of course, in teaming up with UDA, then ODM uh, I think it's in a lesser position. I think ODM is in a weaker point to negotiate. Remember, they are negotiating for the deputy president position to be given to ODM. But of course, you have Mount Kenya, its members, such as the Public Service Cabinet Secretary Geoffrey Ruku, telling ODM that basically deputy president position is not up for debate. That is a preserve for Mount Kenya. Of course, that is assuming that Ruto will still go with Professor Kizure Kindiki. So basically, you have Professor Kizure Kindiki that he will be the deputy president to William Ruto. But of course, that is something that I think a lot of political analysts will be looking at. What kind of party will ODM be? But I think ODM needs to strengthen itself. It risks being a shadow of its former self with the departure, with the death of Raila Odinga. ODM could be a shadow of its former self. So, what does it need to negotiate on? Number one, the deputy president position. That is non negotiable. You have others such as Edwin Sifuna and Babu Wina and Godfrey Sources. This belong to the Linda Mwananchi group. Of course, the Oburu Oginga camp is the Linda ground group. So, the Linda Mwananchi group says Baba wanted Raila Odinga wanted ODM to field a presidential candidate. Edwin Sifuna puts it so aptly. He says when he asked Raila Odinga why would ODM not field a presidential candidate, Raila Odinga Raila Odinga told him who told you. So that is basically what Raila Odinga told Edwin Sifuna, that who told you ODM will not field a presidential candidate. So I think ODM, is now caught between a rock and a hard place. Does it become an opposition party and go back to the drawing board and negotiate with the United Opposition, which I think their flag bearer will be? I think the flag bearer of the United Opposition Party will be Kalonzo Musyoka. So does ODM go back to the United Opposition and negotiate with Kalonzo Musyoka. That is the sentiment you have to ask yourself. Will ODM go back to the united opposition and negotiate with Kalonzo Musyoka, Rigathi Gachagua, Fred Matiang'i, Justin Muturi, so that they can produce a joint presidential candidate? Remember, Kalonzo Musyoka was a running mate to Raila Odinga twice in 2013 and 2017, and in 2022 he shelved aside his presidential ambitions to support Raila Odinga. So that could be thrice, three times that Kalonzo Musyoka supported Raila Odinga. So basically, maybe, and during the burial ceremony of Raila Odinga, you had Kalonzo Musyoka being received with the elections, being clapped by the members of the ODM, and I think even the Odinga family clapping for Kalonzo Musyoka. Kalonzo Musyoka has really stood by Raila Odinga. So, of course, now that is something that maybe ODM should go back to the united opposition and negotiate for the deputy president, negotiate maybe with Kalonzo Musyoka to form a united opposition party. So basically, I think ODM should just know that in Ruto still does not have, remember, if he appoints a running mate outside of Mount Kenya, then that means Mount Kenya will seek to find another plausible path to the state house, and that will be they will go with the DCP party of Rigathi Gachagua. So basically, you can see how between a rock and a hard place that both President Ruto and ODM are trading. So basically, I think ODM will have to figure it out on how they can. I think ODM will have to figure out on how they will be able to negotiate for power. But I think all political parties exist for the sole aim of capturing power. And of course, you have Oburu Oginga being Oburu Oginga, you have Oburu Oginga being very, very adamant that they will negotiate for power. Every political party exists to capture power. But I think for now, I think ODM should have gone with the opposition. I don't think they will get the deputy president position. So let them go with the opposition and then negotiate and fight in. And I don't think they should be abandoning Kalonzo at this time, being the united opposition candidate. I think Kalonzo stood by ODM all this while. Of course, you had the small moment of 2007 when Kalonzo decided to run, and when the opposition would have been united, they would have presented a singular candidate. So I think ODM needs to go and support Kalonzo Musyoka so that he becomes the flag bearer of the opposition party. But I think for now there will be problems within ODM. There will be infighting between the Linda ground of Oburu Oginga and the Linda Mwananchi camp of Edwin Sifuna, Godfrey Associate, and Babu Owino. And remember, Edwin Sifuna and Babu Owino are really challenging to be the leader of the Gen Zs, and they could be succeeding because, according to the podcast that Edwin Sifuna and Babu Owino have appeared in, they look like they have the Gen Zs at heart, and so Gen Zs, remember, they don't have a clear leader. That is, and the Gen Zs don't have a clear leader, so maybe they could pick out Edwin Sifuna Edin Sifuna and Babu Owino, but I think the Senate seat is beneath Edin Sifuna. I just think the Senate seat is beneath Edin Sifuna, and of course also Babu Owino, the Nairobi gubernatorial seat will just mess him up, and I think what he should be doing is to what Babu Owino should be doing is to be a running mate of some sort to maybe Kalonzo Musyoka or even Edwin Sifuna. So I think that is the state of the ODM party, this party that Raila formed, the party that is 20 years old, now looking as if it doesn't know what to do next, whether to form the next government and be part of it. But of course, in that deal, the highest seat they can get is going to be the Prime Cabinet Secretary that is occupied by Musalia Mudavadi or maybe because the DP position that will likely stick to Mount Kenya, or maybe go to the opposition and try to negotiate for a position in the United Opposition. So basically, that is the way it looks. So should ODM call it quits with the in the merger with UDA? So you let me know on the comment section on whether ODM should call it quits in the merger with UDA. So bye for now. Till the next time. Bye for now.